So you've decided a birth class is important. Today, I'm going to give you 5 tips to picking your birth class, and I'm going to give you 5 classes taught by labor nurses that I think are absolutely great. In case we haven't met yet, hello, I'm Hillary. I'm the pregnancy nurse. I've been a nurse since 1997. I have 20 years of labor and delivery experience, and I am your bump to bassinet bestie who's really going to help get you prepared and feeling confident for your upcoming hospital birth. Now, I love that you've chosen a prenatal class. I want you to know that this video is sponsored by the online prenatal class for couples. It is the easy way to get prepared for your hospital birth. You're going to feel confident with your partner in that class. Okay, before we get going, let's go through 5 tips to picking out a birth class. The first one is a labor nurse. Now, I know you're going to get a lot of guff because I am a nurse, got my nursing pickleball shirt on here today because this is a real serious video. But some birth classes are taught by nurses, but not taught by labor nurses. And I don't think the general public really understands how differentiated all of the different nursing professions are. A labor nurse is very different than a med-surg nurse, very different than a hospice nurse. I have worked pediatrics, geriatrics, hospice, all took very different skill sets, and you have to learn a whole new thing when you come into a new profession, aka going from med-surg to labor and delivery. So when you're looking at birth classes, I recommend one taught by a labor nurse because they're going to know the most about labor and delivery. And again, I'm going to give you my top 5 towards the end of this video, so stay tuned. The second one is that you want to make sure that the class gets updated. Now, I've been in the online teaching sphere for a long time. Most people create the class and then they leave it. That is the class that they've had for years and years and years and years, and they don't update it. And you want to make sure that you're having a class that's updated. For instance, the online prenatal class for couples got an update when the ARRIVE trial came out, where it showed that maybe elective inductions at 39 weeks could be a viable option versus how it was taught when it was initially created was that you should let Mother Nature take her course. So you want to make sure that a class is being updated, that they're adding more information all along the way. Number 3 is to look at the price. Now, again, because I've been in the online teaching sphere for so long, I know that when online courses initially came out, they said absolutely no course should be under $100. They should all be more than $100. And I was like, why? That doesn't make any sense to me. If I can take an in-person birthing class for $80, why am I going to charge more for a class that, I don't have to put a whole lot of effort into, right? So my baseline is that you want to see a basic class be under $100 and a class with bells and whistles, more information like newborn care, newborn sleep, breastfeeding, nutrition should be under $200. So that's really what I'm looking for. There are birth classes in all price ranges. And I got to say, if you're under the $50 range, I got to wonder how great the class is. So I think a $50 to $100 range for a basic class is awesome. And again, under $200 for the one with the bells and whistles and more information. Number 4 is you want to make sure that this birth class comes with common interventions. Now, I just read a study that showed that most birth classes fall short because they don't discuss common interventions. I'm talking about things like C-sections, inductions, how to make choices in labor as you're going through labor. Do you want to have your water broken? Things like that. It showed that most people felt like they were caught off guard by those choices. And I got to say, as you look at birth classes, they seem so focused on natural pain management. I'm not saying that's not important, but you want to make sure that you're taking a birth class that also informs you on how to make choices when you're in labor, because that is the thing that seems to catch most people off guard. And I don't want that for you. So make sure that you're taking a birth class that talks about induction, that talks about C-section. So if you have to make the choice about those options, you have some information from where to go with, right? Of course, I would also recommend taking a class that goes over natural pain management as well and epidurals, because you honestly just don't know what kind of birth you're going to have. Number 5, I recommend an online class. Now, I was just on social media this morning when somebody was talking about their birth trauma from the type of birth that they were having. And I said, did you get a birth class? And they said, oh, I had an in-person one set up, but I wasn't feeling well that day. And so I didn't go. And I was like, that's why I love an online class. There are so many unknowns during pregnancy, how you're going to feel, your schedule, your partner's schedule, travel for work and things like that, plus family and all of the other obligations that you have. Taking an online class makes it so much easier, especially to get in together. Now, I recommend a class that is split into small chunks. I'm not talking 3-minute videos. Some of them where I've seen tons of 3-minute videos, that would overwhelm me. I like to see like 15 to 20-minute videos where you can Stick them in pretty easily during the day, get educated, and move on with your life. Taking an online class just makes it easier as long as you are committed to getting in there and getting it done. Of course, you're also going to want to take a class that makes it enjoyable enough to sit through, because some of these I've seen, suddenly these people get into teacher mode and suddenly they're super boring. So I don't know what happens there, but make sure that you're taking a class that will engage you enough to keep going through the class. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, Hillary, I'm watching some videos on social media, I don't think a birth class is worth it. Did you know that people who took a high quality birth class actually were less likely to have a C-section, less likely to have an induction, less likely to have a big tear, and less likely to be induced? And I think that really comes from preparing yourself for making these choices while you're in labor. You have some ideas on where to go through and how to talk with your provider, and that is a real win. Before we jump into the classes, you might be wondering, why a labor and delivery nurse? Why is that important? There are classes taught by doulas, there are classes taught by certified birth educators, and the real reason is most people are super surprised in labor and delivery by how much is done by your labor and delivery nurse. They really are driving the train while you're in labor and delivery. In fact, there are classes out there taught by midwives or doctors, but I think you'll find that labor nurses are really the ones who understand what it's like when you're in the trenches. And I really think that they are the best ones to get a birth class from, because they really understand all the interventions. They understand lots of different patients. And usually labor nurses are very unbiased in how you are going to have your labor, because we've seen people labor in all sorts of different ways, and it just comes with the job. So that's why I recommend a class taught by a labor nurse rather than a doula or just an educator. Okay, let's go through the 5 classes that I recommend. All of these are taught by labor and delivery nurses, so let's get started. The first one is the online prenatal class for couples. It is taught by a labor nurse. In fact, it's taught by yours truly. It can be done in about 3 hours of time. It includes a natural pain management video, but also includes information on C-sections, inductions, epidurals, because I think everybody needs information on all of those things so that they can prepare for the birth that they end up having. The one con on this class that I get every once in a while is that I talk too fast, although every once in a while I also get people who said they sped it up. So everybody's different. That's the one con that I hear most often. That class starts well under $100, and then you can bump up to the bundle if you want more information as well. In fact, here's a secret. If you just want the basic class and you'd love to add the breastfeeding class, once you get into the basic class, you can actually add the breastfeeding class for just like $20. So it's a real win. The second one is Birth It Up by Liesl Teen. A lot of you might know her as Mommy Labor Nurse from Instagram. She teaches a great birth class. I think she's super engaging. Her class, however, I'm not sure how updated it is, and you have to sort of pick a path. So you either pick a C-section or an epidural or natural, and I'm not sure how that works out. But I know Liesl, I think she's great, and I bet this birth class is totally worth your time. A new one on the scene is Bump to Latch by Mama Nurse Tina. I absolutely love Tina. I know her in person. She is genuine and she's funny, so I bet the birth class is super engaging. However, it is new to the scene, and sometimes I wonder about new birth classes, because I know for mine, I had to go through a few updates before it really got to be the class that I wanted. She also includes a breastfeeding class, and they can be bundled together. Tina knows tons about breastfeeding, and I'm sure this class is a great value. The next one is Labor Nurse Mama's class. Now, she's had a birth class for quite a long time, although the oldest one in here is the online prenatal class for couples, because I am an absolute dinosaur. Labor Nurse Mama is all about natural birth. I know she talks a lot about VBAC. She really encourages you to have a natural birth. Sometimes I wonder how unbiased her class is in letting you pick the type of birth that you want, but I think people who follow her probably are angled for more of a natural birth. I will say that I've seen her go more towards business coaching rather than labor coaching lately, but I know she knows her stuff, and I'm sure this class is a great one. The final one is the Bundle Birth Labor class. Now, Bundle Birth is education for nurses, but they have a class taught by one of their labor nurses for expectant parents about labor. Now, this class, I again wonder how updated it is, because they are very busy supplying information for labor nurses out there. It's also a bit over the price point that I would recommend. However, I know that they are very educated and probably create a great product. Okay, here's a pro tip in case you're overwhelmed by all these 5 different classes. I would recommend checking to see if they have any freebies. Now, I'll put some of my freebies below, although we've already met here on YouTube. If you find that the online prenatal class for couples just isn't what you're wanting, or you're wanting to look around, check out the freebies that these labor nurses offer, and then you'll get an idea of who they are and what they can offer for you. And as a special bonus to making it to the end of this video, I want to offer you 15% off the online prenatal class for couples with coupon code LABORNURSE. I think you can't go wrong by getting educated by an experienced labor nurse. And I'm really excited that there are so many different class options out there. I hope you can find one that works for you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and feel free to follow me because I would love to hang out with you for the rest of your pregnancy. And in case you want to hang out with me more right now, I bet there's other videos that you will like as well.